Hey guys, I'm Lee Taylor. That's the brand new Ford Puma, and this is a Right Lane review. The Ford Puma isn't new, but it's new to Australia. Arriving down under with so many awards and accolades from Europe, it needs to be good. It needs to impress. So Ford, what's your new kitty cat packing? Let's start with this little car fits in. You see, this mini soft-roader is another mini soft-roader that's based on a hatchback, in this instance the Fiesta, and it competes directly with the Yaris Cross, the Volkswagen T-Cross, Hyundai's Venue, and the Mazda CX-3. And after the whole EcoSport debacle, Ford really needs to be in contender. So, does it measure up? So what's the Puma actually like to live with and drive out on the road? Well, it's a great little package. I mean, it's light on its feet, it's easy to place, it's easy to see out of. Thanks to all the park assist tech, you can actually use Park Pilot to get you in and out of spaces, and it's quite handy for parallel parking. You also get all your general safety features, so forward collision warning, cross traffic alert, blind spot monitors in this car that has this park pack, as well as a host of other tiny little safety features that just generally help out. It's a good car. It also has evasion assist, which Ford says will help you avoid a collision by boosting the steering and traction control system. I haven't had a chance to test that, and quite frankly, I really don't want to. So we're just gonna trust Ford on that one. Around town, again, it's easy to place because of its size and easy to see out of, so there's never really much of a problem. The DCT gearbox is not my favorite. It's a little bit clunky, particularly in normal or eco mode. It just kind of forgets what its job is sometimes and can be a bit rough around the edges. The car's best mode, personally, is sport. So the 1 liter is actually more responsive, and the car feels a bit more lively, and the gearbox actually changes gears a bit quicker and a bit sharper. You also have slippery mode for whenever it's wet outside or snowing. Slippery mode might be useful in Melbourne, but this isn't a car I'd take up to Mount Buller or anything, especially not in snow, particularly not on these economy tires. And then you also have trail mode, and trail mode is just a bit confusing to me. Like, who would take their Puma out on a trail? Maybe to put a kayak in the water or something, but I can't imagine one of these being out on a heavy trail, so I'm not quite sure what that's about. Dynamically, the Puma actually feels really good. The steering feels nice. A sport mode, it's a little bit fake feeling, but the steering wheel kind of makes up for that because you actually have a good grip. In sport mode, the car actually feels a bit more lively, like I said before, and the 1 liter only makes about 90, maybe a little over 90 kilowatts, but it makes 170 newton meters of torque, so it's got a bit of punch in the mid-range. It's nothing that's going to light your hair on fire, but it's at least enjoyable. And for most people, that would be enough. It's not quite Hyundai inline power, but you don't really need it in a car like this. And if you want 3-cylinder with lots of firepower, there is the Fiesta ST, which we get in a 5-door here, and probably a little bit better around the edges if you're after sport anyway. But overall, the Puma is actually a very good car to drive and a good place to be, and it feels great in the hand. So I can see why people have enjoyed it and why it's won so many awards over in Europe. But where it lets me down a little bit is just the dual clutch and this interior. So how's life on the inside of the Puma? Well, it's actually quite nice. From the driver's seat, you sit in quite comfortable quilted leather seats with some nice gray stitching. I actually quite like the design of these. You have a very good steering wheel out in front, flat bottom with the stitching as well, and it's the right size, roundness as well as girth. All the controls for your adaptive cruise control and whatnot here. You do get the advanced cruise control in this particular car, which allows you to stop and go and all those good things with lane centering. A beautiful, fully digital dash in front of you. It's really easy to read. It's not too cluttered like some brands, BMW, but it is a bit laggy at times. So when you're changing modes, sometimes the graphics can kind of freeze in between. It's not the best in that instance. Throughout the cabin, all the touch points are quite nice, and the quality is really, really good, but the styling isn't my favorite for the sheer fact that it points away from the driver. It's obviously designed for a left-hand drive market, and this is a right-hand drive market, so everything's kind of shifted the wrong direction. You do have the infotainment system Sync 3, which is quite good, along with the Ford Pass app program, Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, a wireless charger, B&O sound system, 10 speakers all the way around, and that funky looking conference call thing on the dash. Nice rimless rearview mirror, it looks fantastic. And my favorite feature is actually the manual sunshade, because it means you can close it and get all the airflow but not get sunburnt. It's great. So how's life in the back of the Puma? Well, it's a bit small. I mean, it is a small car based on the Fiesta after all, so I'm not expecting a ton of room. Headroom's okay for a car with a sunroof. Knee room is a bit, I mean, I am 6 foot tall and this is set up for my own driving position. You don't have a cup holder in the middle or anything special like that. You do have some decent sized door bins, and you do have the sunroof that extends all the way in the back, and which is a nice saving grace because you can open it up and do a little bit of stargazing. So how's the room in the back of the Puma? You actually get quite a bit of space, and this particular car has an automatic tailgate, which is a nice feature. You also have a load floor that moves up and down, a taller setting which looks pretty normal, and a lower setting for deeper items. You also have a nice big cubby underneath the load floor that sits right above the spare tire. It's actually pretty useful for gear like car review stuff. So what's the tops, bottoms, and final verdict on the brand new Ford Puma? Well, on the bottom are a couple small annoyances for me personally. One is the fact that the interior is obviously designed for a left-hand drive market, so it seems a bit flat and skewed away from the driver, which just constantly irritates me, to be honest. The DCT gearbox is a little bit clunky around town. It doesn't quite pick up and perform as quickly as I'd want it to. On the open road, it's all right. The sport suspension, which is great for the ST line, giving it that sporting feel, is a little bit bouncy around town, and it's really the only suspension you get unless you get a base Puma, so you need to weigh that up. And the interior digital dash, while being absolutely stunning, is a little bit laggy. Kind of reminds me of Windows 1998. So what's on top for Ford's mini SUV? Well, it's quirky in all the right ways. The styling on the outside and the way it drives is a bit different than all of its competitors, and that's a really good thing. And speaking of drive, it drives a lot better than the Volkswagen T-Cross or the Hyundai Venue. Verdict's out on the Yaris Cross. We'll have that in a couple weeks. Interior-wise, it is great quality on the inside for the price point, despite not personally caring for the styling. Everything is actually really well made, and it feels good in the hands. And despite holding a small premium over all of its competitors, it's quite a good bang for buck. So what's my final verdict on the Ford Puma? Well, it's a great addition to the soft-roader segment, and it's packed full of technology. It's quite fun to drive. So if you want a little bit of quirk and variety, and you're not afraid to pay a small premium, then this might be the mini SUV for you.